Are you ready for a love story that's unlike anything you've heard before? Welcome back to the channel, and a warm hello to all our new viewers. If you love romantic tales with a twist, you're in the right place. Tonight, we invite you into the whimsical, perpetually tangled garden of unrequited affection, where a peculiar quartet awaits. Eleanor, a woman whose love for Arthur burned brighter than a supernova and was about as subtle as a foghorn. Arthur, the object of Eleanor's grand affection, who possessed the emotional intelligence of a particularly dense houseplant when it came to romance. Ben, Arthur's best friend, who was hopelessly, hilariously smitten with Eleanor. And Chloe, Eleanor's best friend, who was, to everyone's bewildered amusement, absolutely head over heels for Arthur. This isn't just a love triangle. It's a Möbius strip of chaotic, unreturned longing. So settle in, because this heartfelt and entertaining journey is just getting started. Eleanor, a whirlwind of dramatic sighs and longing gazes, would craft elaborate plans to subtly hint at her feelings for Arthur. One time, she baked him a cake shaped like a giant heart, only for Arthur to cheerfully declare, "Wow, Eleanor, is this a new brand of artisanal pizza?" He then proceeded to eat the entire thing, oblivious to the culinary declaration of love. Ben, meanwhile, would watch these spectacles with a pained expression, muttering under his breath about the injustice of Arthur's charming obliviousness. He'd offer Eleanor a sympathetic pat on the back, which she'd inevitably swat away, her eyes still fixated on Arthur's retreating form. "Oh, Ben, if only Arthur noticed me, the way you notice. Well, anything other than me noticing Arthur." Chloe, the stoic and sensible one of the group, surprised everyone with her unshakable crush on Arthur. While Eleanor was busy making grand gestures, Chloe would meticulously organize Arthur's tax documents or silently refill his coffee cup, convinced these acts of service were the true language of love. One afternoon, she spent 3 hours helping him retile his bathroom, only for Arthur to thank her profusely, then ask if she knew anyone who could help him pick out a new shower curtain. Eleanor would just roll her eyes at Chloe's understated approach. "Honestly, Chloe, you're practically his personal assistant. He's never going to see you as anything more." The jealousy was a constant, simmering undercurrent. Ben would turn a shade of puce whenever Arthur so much as complimented Eleanor's new haircut. Eleanor, in turn, would develop a sudden, intense interest in Chloe's activities whenever Arthur and Chloe had a quiet, collaborative moment. "So, what are you two really discussing?" she'd ask, practically sniffing the air for romantic fumes. Chloe, usually unflappable, would bristle whenever Eleanor's theatrics landed her too close to Arthur. The whole situation was a farcical ballet of misplaced affections, each person orbiting the wrong star. The peak of their romantic pandemonium arrived during their annual Friendsgiving potluck. Eleanor, in a desperate bid, prepared a feast themed entirely around Arthur's favorite foods. She even wrote a poem dedicated to his love for obscure documentaries. Arthur, touched, declared it the most thoughtful potluck ever, then spent the rest of the evening discussing the merits of a new historical drama with Chloe. Ben, fueled by a potent mix of despair and, way too much cranberry sauce, finally blurted out to Eleanor, "Can't you see, Eleanor? He's completely blind. Just look at me." Eleanor, right in the middle of her soliloquy about Arthur's captivating smile, merely blinked at him. "Look at you? Why would I look at you when Arthur is right there, discussing the finer points of medieval weaving?" The tactical alliance was, well, about to be tested in ways none of them could have expected. It was Chloe, surprisingly, who broke the cycle. Witnessing Eleanor's increasingly elaborate and, honestly, increasingly futile attempts, and realizing her own subtle approaches were just as unnoticed by Arthur, she had an epiphany. Or, well, maybe it was a nervous breakdown disguised as an epiphany. One particularly chaotic evening, after Arthur had, yet again, thanked Chloe for her excellent organizational skills, instead of, noticing her new, rather flattering haircut, Chloe snapped. She grabbed Eleanor by the arm, dragged her into the kitchen, and declared, "Eleanor, we need a new strategy. This is clearly not working for either of us. We are two capable, intelligent women, and we are being ignored by a man who thinks a heart-shaped cake is a pizza." Eleanor, still reeling from Arthur's latest clueless remark, listened, and for the first time, she truly saw Chloe's frustration, mirroring her own. What happened next was a tactical alliance of epic proportions. They stopped vying for Arthur's attention. Eleanor channeled her dramatic flair into a new passion project, competitive, synchronized swimming, surprisingly, and Chloe, in a bold move, started openly flirting with other people, just to see if Arthur would notice. He didn't. The shift was subtle at first, then became undeniably clear. Arthur, suddenly finding himself, without two adoring satellites orbiting him, felt a strange, unfamiliar void. He began to miss Eleanor's extravagant gestures and Chloe's quiet support. He even confessed to Ben, "It's just quiet, isn't it? Eleanor hasn't baked me anything shaped like an animal in weeks, and Chloe actually declined my request to alphabetize my spice rack." Ben, seeing his opening, subtly nudged Arthur. Maybe they're busy with other things. Maybe they're not just waiting around for you. Meanwhile, Ben, having finally convinced Eleanor to go for a friendly coffee, found himself surprisingly enjoying her unfiltered enthusiasm. He realized her dramatic tendencies, which he once found exasperating, were actually rather endearing. And Eleanor, seeing Ben in a new light, unburdened by her Arthur infatuation, began to appreciate his unwavering loyalty and genuine affection. He truly saw her, even when she was covered in cake batter or spouting dramatic poetry. As for Chloe, her other interests started paying off. One of them, a charming and surprisingly insightful librarian, genuinely appreciated her organizational skills and, more importantly, her sharp wit and dry humor. Arthur, witnessing Chloe laughing easily with this new suitor, felt a pang of something akin to, well, he wasn't sure, but it wasn't comfortable. The chaos of the love square began to untangle itself, not through grand declarations, but through the quiet realization that sometimes the person who truly sees you isn't the one you've been desperately trying to be seen by. Yeah. So, things started to shift. The tangled web of feelings slowly loosened. And, honestly, everyone began to see each other a little more clearly. It wasn't dramatic, but it was real. The Friendsgiving potluck rolled around again. A year later, Eleanor arrived, not with a heart-shaped anything, but with a perfectly baked quiche. Arm in arm with a beaming Ben. Arthur, looking slightly disheveled and perhaps a touch wistful, was chatting awkwardly with Chloe, who occasionally glanced at her phone with a subtle smile. "Arthur, I actually have to go. My date is waiting." She winked at Eleanor as she left, leaving a bewildered Arthur in her wake. Arthur, for the first time in what felt like forever, looked at Eleanor and Ben. Truly looked at them. He saw the easy camaraderie, the shared laughter, the way Ben affectionately brushed a stray hair from Eleanor's face, and, well, a tiny, almost imperceptible spark of understanding flickered in his usually oblivious eyes. Eleanor, catching his gaze, simply smiled, a genuine happy smile that had nothing to do with him. And in that moment, Arthur finally understood. Not in a dramatic, movie-ending way, but in a quiet, humbling realization that sometimes, when you're looking so hard in one direction, you miss what's right beside you. Sometimes, the biggest revelations come quietly, sneaking up on you while you're busy searching for something else. It's, funny how life works like that. In the end, Eleanor got her ardent admirer in Ben, who loved her with the kind of goofy devotion she always craved. And Chloe, the pragmatic one, found someone who not only appreciated her unique brand of affection, but also saw her for the incredible woman she was, rather than a glorified personal assistant. The love square had finally dissolved, not into heartbreak, but into a more sensible and ultimately far funnier arrangement. The women got what they desired, though it wasn't quite the path they'd originally envisioned. And Arthur? Well, Arthur eventually got a new shower curtain, and maybe, just maybe, a tiny bit wiser about the complexities of the human heart. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends. Your support means the world to us.